Houston, Texas, man. What's going on? It's your boy, episode 5. Before we get started, Ash, you got anything you want to say?
Hello. Excited.
I would like to say, in light of it being March the 10th,
Yes, sir.
happy International Women's Day. I missed that.
You.
And rest in peace to the late, great, notorious B.I.G. Let's get into the episode.
Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Dear John, the iconic legend Quincy Jones said, "To know where you came from makes it easier for you to get where you're going." Sean Diddy Combs said, "Everyone has challenges and lessons to learn. We wouldn't be who we are without them." If 2018 and the last 6 years taught you something, it's that anything is attainable with the right focus and determination. Continue to build. Continue to promote your vision. Continue to inspire creativity and make more creatives. In closing, Nas said, "No idea is original. There's nothing new under the sun. It's never what you do but how it's done. The first chapter of your vision's movements is done. However, you're still a visionary. Peace and blessings. John Ross."
Yo, it feel like 95, Sachi on my body, Biggie, Jigga, Puffy, all that ballin' is a hobby, and I'm wildin' in my wallies.
So, Houston, Texas, we're back. Welcome to episode 5 of the What's Next podcast, a production of Still Visionary, Inc. My name is John Ross Dyke, and before we get started with the episode, we want to introduce our social media handles. You can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at John Ross Dyke and still_visionary. And my website is www.stillvisionary.com. Ash!
Yes.
What's going on with you?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm well. Let's go ahead because I don't want to get into the conversation and get elbows in and then have to interrupt with the social media handles. So where can
Gotcha.
people follow you?
So you can follow me on Instagram. Personal is Ashley, ASHLEY, the number 4, Odom, ODOM. And for my business, Omazing Occasions, that is OMAZING Occasions. And also you can follow me on Twitter at Ashley4Odom. And also I have a Facebook, facebook.com/Omazing Occasions.
Okay. So today is March the 10th, 2019, and we have 296 more days left in the 2019 year. I did that as a way last year to line up with my goals. At the end of the year, I wanted to be able to say, in 365 days, I accomplished this. So let's get started with you, man. So Houston, Texas, I have you know this. My sister and I here, and I don't use that term lightly. My sister and I here, we go way back. We both went to U of H together.
Go Cougs.
Go Cougs for sure in the building. And more recently, we are both, or I don't know if Ash is still educating, but we're both educators. And this is an educator that I look up to. She was actually one of the first ones that kind of pushed me into the realm of wanting to be an educator. Ash, let's start with you, man. Let's start at the beginning. Let's start at the beginning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm well. So what's going on with you?
Right now, life is busy. Like you mentioned, started off as an educator, graduated from U of H in 05 and went into education the beginning of 07. And I was a teacher for 7.5 years. After I left the classroom, I was an instructional technology specialist for about 1.5 years. And along the way, I became involved with the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. And I was a faculty member in their teacher quality retention program during the summer. So I did that from 2014 that summer through summer 2017. And that actually evolved into a full-time position as of May of last year. So I'm a program manager of teacher development. So I still work with teachers, actually those that are aspiring to be teachers and those in their first 3 years of teaching that go to our 47 publicly funded HBCUs across the country.
Okay, so when I created this podcast was all about giving a platform for creatives to come on and talk about their experiences and their journeys. Now, I understand that part of being a creative is that you have to be thrust into that atmosphere. So you start off somewhere paying the bills.
Yes.
And then in paying the bills, it gets to a point where it's just like, damn, I'm tired of this. And I want to be able to move on. So before Houston, Texas, I know we normally talk to the creators, and Ashley is a creative, but I want to get, because I saw on Instagram the other day the whole thing with Terrence J, and he's an ambassador and all of that. Let's talk about that right quick, and let's talk about the whole purpose of the Thurgood
Marshall College Fund.
Yeah.
So the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, what we try to do is we make sure that we are able to find and cultivate our talent in our HBCUs.
Okay.
A lot of spaces say that they have trouble finding ready talent, and they want to have more diversity. So we know what that means. So what we do is we find our talent, we do our recruiting, we get them knowledgeable and build them so that whenever they are ready to go into the field, that they are ready day one, not just ready because of the color of their skin, but ready to compete with anybody in any particular setting and area. So what we do on my end, since I work in our K-12 pipelines, being that I'm an educator, like you mentioned, we work with those that are at HBCUs that want to be teachers, and also those that graduated from HBCUs that are within their early years of teaching. And we provide them with professional development, support throughout the year, multiple resources, recruitment fairs, professionalism sessions. That way, whenever they do go to get those jobs, they're able to be ready, knowing all the things that they need to make them well-versed and to keep them in the classroom. Because a lot of times you go to schools, depending on where you are, you may not see a lot of us. A lot of people, no matter what color they are, they get burnt out. They oftentimes leave education in their first 3 years of teaching. Don't feel like they have the support. Don't feel that they're, trained, capable. Dealing with children is a lot. So we make sure we cultivate them, and we're trying to retain and keep teachers in the classroom.
So when you say talent, what exactly do you mean when you say talent?
So with our organization, we actually will go into schools. So we'll go into schools and let them know of all the offerings that we have. We do have different internship programs. We have different, like our program is one of the many. We also offer scholarships and things of that nature. Many times they don't realize that there's so many resources out there. So we go to the schools and we try to recruit. So we let them know what we have to offer. Here are the eligibility requirements. If you are eligible, go in and, get this, because we're just trying to, make you better, build you up. Many students that work with us at TMCF, they actually leave college with a job. Or at least they've had exposure to so many different companies and organizations to set them up for success. That way, whenever they get out of college, boom, they're ready. And they already have those supports and resources in place.
So, and ladies and gentlemen, I'll let you know this, Ash, as an actor, you learn about the formalities of organizing things in terms of like a production. So I want to say that this show is not scripted. That's why every time I say to myself, I'm going to give the product first.
Okay.
I end up having to break the conversation to do this. But before we continue on, I have this black SVI T-shirt that I make for everybody that comes on the episode.
Thank you, brother.
And I want to just basically allow everybody to know that.
Make sure you get that publicity out there. This is nice.
I want to be able to allow everybody who came on to have a portion of the company. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
No doubt. Keep going talking about what you were saying.
So you had mentioned Terrence J. So we have a gala that we have at the end of our leadership institutes. We have a leadership institute at the in the fall, and we always have a gala. And Terrence J. this past year happened to be one of our presenters. So when he came out, he was speaking from the heart, and he actually mentioned that he received a scholarship. He received support from Thurgood Marshall College Fund when he went to North Carolina A&T. So when this came up, we, didn't realize, because, he's been out of college for some years. And so realized that he was actually a TMCF scholar back in the day. And so they brought him on as our national ambassador. So he actually is going to be one of the faces of TMCF to be able to go out and give support and, spread the wealth, spread the knowledge of all that we do, because we have 47 publicly funded HBCUs.
Not in the state of Texas, but just period.
Well, in the state of Texas, we support Prairie View, A&M, and Texas Southern.
Okay.
And it's just so if you look at like Wiley, if you look at
East Baptist.
Yeah, those are privately funded. So
Okay.
they would be under the United Negro College Fund.
And Paul Quinn too.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, the only two we support in Texas are Texas Southern and Prairie View because they're publicly funded.
Okay. Okay. So if you had to define TMC with one word, what word would you use to define them or define the organization?
To define the organization, one word, man, can it just really be one word?
Or a couple.
To me, I would say Black excellence.
Black excellence.
For me, everything that we do, we're doing it to be able to lift up and create and cultivate and just make the students that we know are raw talent, worthy talent, making sure that they're able to be in the spaces that they are qualified to be in and be prepared. And we want to make sure we do everything in excellence. We expect excellence of those that we pour into, and then they expect that out of us as well.
Okay.
Many students that are supported through TMCF, we may be their way of being able to make it through college because of scholarships where we meet needs. Many of our teachers that come through the program that I'm over, the Teacher Quality and Retention Program, they say that if it weren't for our program, they would have no professional development or quality professional development. So when they come to us in the summer for those 12 days, they're thirsty for it. And they leave rejuvenated and refreshed and ready for that next school year because many times they don't feel they have the support that they need where they are. So they feel that with us, it's a safe place to be able to learn and also be able to network and grow with like peers around them.
No doubt. No doubt. So as an educator in this program, how do you foster because, a lot of kids that I teach nowadays always come off saying, I'm not going to need this. I'm going to go to trade school. How do you teach thinking outside the box to them?
Well, when it comes to the fellows that we have, everybody that we have there isn't your typical reading math teacher. We support those that, electives and things of that nature. One thing that we make sure we focus on is teachers being able to cater to all students. Every student that you have is not going to be your perfect A student. Many of them aren't going to like school. Many of them might just be there because they have to be there. And that's just the nature of the world. And so we focus on making sure that they're able to reach all students, no matter if it's your highest of the high, if it's your bubble kids, if it's the ones that don't want to be there. So we do that through talking about standard-based instruction, also talking about things like being, a culturally responsible, culturally responsive teacher, being able to have professionalism. Also, we know that many times technology is a way that you can get those kids that sometimes are, real outcasts and don't want to, be involved. So we have a lot of different methods, but making sure that you're able to reach all children, no matter if you're in the richest of districts or if you're in one where you might still be using chalk. So because we do have some that are like that. So we definitely make sure that we look at the diversity of the group that we have, and even amongst themselves, they learn different and they've had different experiences. So to keep in mind that your students are going to be the exact same way.
Okay. What song's on your mind right now?
Right now, I was listening to Queen a little bit earlier.
Okay.
I saw Bohemian Rhapsody, and that's really stuck with me about the last week and a half. Also, the new Solange.
Okay.
Dreams.
Okay.
Benz.
All right.
It's just a vibing, grooving album. So I literally was driving, about to go to Turkey Leg Hut the other week. and I was about to take the Benz exit, and I was like, so appropriate right now.
Yeah.
But that's just really, like we were talking earlier, I'm a podcast type chick. So a lot of times I don't listen to the radio as much, but if something's hitting, I'm going to have it on constant repeat.
Yeah.
Also, one thing, Love Theory by Kirk Franklin.
Okay.
His newest. He knows how to make a jam.
Yeah.
And it's talking about the Lord.
Yeah.
The jam.
Yeah.
But so that's been on repeat as well.
And for me, in lieu of Biggie Smalls having passed 22 years ago, I'm going to go with Sky's the Limit for me. On radio yesterday, we were playing a Biggie tribute all day long. So Sky's the Limit, that really was one that kind of stuck to me and I think about all the time. Just, you know, reaching that point where you're actually shooting past it, like you're soaring and shooting past it.
Yeah, you can never do wrong with Biggie.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's crazy. It's been 22 years. I remember that day. It was a Sunday. I remember watching TV, watching something on MTV, and I remember Kurt Loder, I think that was the guy, came on the screen and said that and I was like, dang.
Crazy.
I think I was a freshman in high school.
Crazy,
but yeah.
I was thinking about that yesterday because I was speaking to my mother, and I told her I loved her, and I was thinking about if Biggie Smalls ever got the chance to say that to his mom one more time. So for me, I think it became an emotional thing for me because I was like, man, you know, a lot of people don't get that last time to say, well, I love you.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I wrote that on Facebook the other day. I was thinking about that, and it really came to my mind because they had been playing and everybody was recollecting on their memories about Biggie Smalls on the radio. So I thought that, and the night before, I had said that I made sure that when I left my mom's crib, I had told her I loved her.
You have to, with my parents staying out of town, you know, I talk to them, you know, pretty much every day. But after whenever we end any conversation, just have to say, you know, I love you.
Yeah.
Because you really, nowadays,
For sure.
you just don't know.
For sure. So, Ash, I want to get into the shits, okay? Because this is the What's Next podcast is a podcast from a creative made for the creative. So I'll take you back to circa, let's say 2000. How long has Instagram been out?
Ooh,
Maybe about 7 years, maybe?
I was going to say maybe like around 09 or 10.
Okay, it wasn't then, but I'll say circa 2012, 13.
Okay.
You know, I do a lot of trolling, but good trolling, right? And I just like to see what people are doing in their lives, like, you know, because like going back to the conversation about being educators, you do it for so long, and then, you know, every year before I start the school year, I always count the number of days that we have, right? So out of 365, we're usually working around 176 this year. Last year was 178. So I wonder what people are doing with the remainder of the year.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at your Instagram, and I'm like, damn, Ashley's always promoting something. Like, always. If it's not AKA, it's some fundraiser. And then I look at your following, I was like, God damn. Ashley got about 6,000, 7,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then you start to say something about Omazing Occasions.
Yes.
That's what I really want to talk about today. Let's start off there.
Let's talk about
Where did that come from, and what is that about?
Gotcha. So I've always been, like you said, a creative. I'm just good with working with my hands. I like to create stuff.
Good. Okay.
And one thing with me is I like to create stuff that I don't know anybody else is creating. So probably, like you mentioned, maybe around 12 or 13. I want to say about 2013, my sister-in-law, her sister was pregnant. And so she...
Your what?
My sister-in-law.
Okay.
Well, not my sister.
Okay.
But it's a...
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, I got you.
So, anyways, she said her sister was having a baby shower and she wanted to make her a diaper cake. And she wanted me to assist because she knew I was creative, like to do things like that. So me and her, I didn't realize how easy it was to make a diaper cake. And I kind of took over. I was supposed to be helping her, but kind of took over. And I took a picture of it and I put it on Facebook. I don't know if I put it on Instagram, maybe so. But I was like, you know, what do you guys think of this? Is this something that you think would be, you know, because I was like, I could do this. I was like, is this something you think people might be interested in? I got a lot of likes, a lot of comments. So that was in December because Symphony was born in January. So January, I actually had a baby shower I was going to. I was like, okay, I'm going to try to recreate a diaper cake. And I'm see, so I made one, put all this stuff into it. And people liked it. And then I started getting requests. I'm like, oh, okay. This is another little stream of income. You know, as a teacher, you're a full-time job. But it's something I can do as extra.
Facts.
Most teachers got another hustle. So
All
if you go into teaching, you're going to need another hustle. So I ended up making these diaper cakes. And, you know, it was lucrative. It was keeping me busy. First year, pretty much about every week, every other week I had an order. But then it was like, everybody don't have baby showers. So how else can you add on to this business? So somewhere I was online and I saw these chocolate covered Oreos. I looked it up. I'm like, this isn't that difficult. Saw what I needed to put into it. So a little bit of, you got to invest in yourself. Picked up some stuff, and I ended up making, I had a sorority meeting. It was in May. Had a sorority meeting, and I ended up making some pink chocolate-covered Oreos and put a green ivy leaf on it. Sorrows love anything pink and green.
Okay. You know what? We I'm sorry to interrupt you, but, Houston, Texas, if you look around, you'll see the one of the greatest sororities. Well, let me say the greatest sorority.
The greatest.
Because
remember your wife.
Because my wife is
Remember
an AKA.
your
Shouts
wife.
to my wife. Can you really quick introduce that? Tell us where what chapter you belong with and where you pledged out in the air. Well, whatever.
Yes. So I was initiated into the greatest sorority. Looking into the camera. Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated in fall of 2003.
Okay.
So I am 15 years in the game. I might not look it, but it's been 15 years. And that was at the University of Houston Epsilon Lambda chapter, and I'm currently in the Missouri City Mu Kappa Omega chapter right now.
Okay.
So yes, so
this year you're turning 16.
Yeah, I'll be 16 in October.
Okay.
So yes.
So continue on. You made the Oreo cookies.
I made the Oreos and I took them to
Ks.
a sorority meeting, and I just had just a few. Gave them out, and I had people asking, oh, do you have any more? And so I was like, well, how do you like them? Just kind of taste testing, and they loved them, and it literally, boom, took off. So I had an opportunity because Cosmo's birthday was the next month, so he had his pool party. So I'm like, let me make some Oreos. That way people will see it. Oh, what is this? Just trying to advertise. Taking, using your own money, but putting it out there. And the cookies took off. Absolutely took off. One day I just made some like chocolate covered strawberries for me, and I took a picture of them, put them on, put them on the ground as usual. I take pictures of all the food. And I had someone hit me up, hey, because she knew I had a business. She was like, oh, can I order some strawberries? It wasn't even an item. But since she asked, I mean, why not, order them from me instead of having to go to Godiva or somewhere? I'm much cheaper than them. So did the Oreos, and then someone asked, do you do Rice Krispie treats? Didn't do them at the time, but hey, I can do them. There. So now with Omazing Occasions, I don't do the diaper items as much, but chocolate covered Oreos, chocolate covered strawberries. I do chocolate covered pretzels.
Okay.
I also do personalized chip bags.
Okay.
I started that last year. And again, there's other people that do these things, but for me and my immediate circle, I didn't know too many people that did them. Okay. So the thing that I've started actually 2 days ago is now drunken suckers.
Okay.
So actual lollipops for adults.
Okay.
So that's new because I don't know anybody else in Houston that does that. So just trying to always reinvent myself. And I'll always try something once. I tried candy apples once. Didn't go too well. Yeah. And there's plenty of people. I had someone the other day, are you going to think of them? Like, there's plenty of people that do them. It was more of a pain to me. Yeah. And I didn't enjoy that experience. It was frustrating. Okay. So me, the things that I do, a little bit of a perfectionist. So what I do well. Okay. And it's a nice side hustle. Yeah, I enjoy it.
And I think that for me, I think that really kind of just was like, and I'll lead into where I'm going with this, but I'm watching your Instagram and I'm like, damn, Ashley's always promoting something. Like she's always, back in the day, you used to have the house parties and you would always have some dish that you made outside of the norm. We would all bring stuff and you would have some dish. But I'm looking on Instagram and I'm looking on Facebook because I follow you on both. And I'm just like, damn, she's always doing something. Like you always got some kind of snack or something on the gram. And I'm just like, well, damn, what is that all about? But what really got me to saying, okay, it's time to bring her on the podcast was this. So I was watching Facebook and I was like, I was just scrolling down, and you said, it's time to invest in me. Okay. And you were printing shirts, which is I do on the side as well.
That one you got on right now was really nice.
Oh yeah, man. I did it with the last podcast, and so I just had the logo redone. But I like to kind of like the thing was that I think that everybody should get off the name brand, especially if you have something that you represent.
True.
And I think that the best way to be able to represent your stuff without saying it all the time is through clothing.
Exactly.
So I just press it. And I think that in the podcast, I want to just continue to wear them, And eventually, when we make it to 10 episodes, I'll probably start to give them out as well as the T-shirts. But I just, I saw you, and I'm just like, yo, she's grinding, and that kind of pushes you to kind of like, all right, well, and shortly after that, when I saw you doing it, I was like, all right, well, I had 25 shirts already pressed in the house. And I don't know why I was waiting for the time to get on the IG promotion or the Facebook promotion, but I was just like, all right, it's time, because I get so distracted with what I want to do. Everything for me comes back to the films.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'm gonna drop this full-length film, but that's not neither here nor there. It's just eventually.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. But so take us to, what is your favorite thing to make in Omazing Occasions?
I like so many things. I did, like you mentioned, I did start making the shirts. Right now, that might be my favorite, just because you can take something so simple as a blank tee and transform it into so much. I'm a T-shirt freak. That's just one thing that's hard for me to not buy. If a shirt just pops and I see it, I have to get it right then. Yeah. So for me, because you can make it for a baby, a child, a kid, teen, adult.
Facts.
So I just really do enjoy that. And so, like you said, I mean, over time, I've had to buy printers. Like I was going, when I was doing I still do the edible images for my cookies. I was going to a baker and paying them, a baking supply store, paying them $8 a sheet to print off my images. And if you got a big order, that racks up. That cuts into your profit. I'm just like, damn, I can do that. So did some research. Oh, just certain types of printers. Okay, let me get the printer. Oh, you can get ink here. You can get frosting sheets here. You can actually get some of this stuff off Amazon.
Facts.
I was like, no. So what ended up being in all probably about $120 that I spent up front. Now I don't have to go use gas money and get printing $8 a sheet money. Yeah. And I was like, no, I can do this myself.
Yes.
And so whenever I looked at the shirts, I ended up getting the press. I was like, okay. Yeah. Small change to spend at first. And I made that money back within like a week.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm just like, work smarter, not harder. There's too many things you can do on your own. Your shirt, you could get somebody to press those for you, or you could get your own blanks, get your own vinyl. Too many places they got it, and make it happen.
And that was the thing. So I realized that, and this is just, I'm glad, because you just kind of just brought it out. I mean, I gotta say it.
Go ahead.
So in the beginning of the previous venture that I won't mention, we've been family for damn near 15 years, 16. Well, you crossed in 03.
I crossed in 03.
I graduated the summer of 03 from high school, and then made my way to U of H. So somewhere 03, 04. Yeah. But
at least 15, right at 15 years.
Yeah, and I had started with the film and wanted to start a company, but we kept saying, got a brand. And then eventually it was sometime earlier last year where what it was, okay, let's tie it back in. So the educational system, what we try to do at school is we try to, especially with the program that we just let go of, we try to teach kids certain skills. We understand that all kids are not meant for four-year schools. All kids are not meant for JUCOs and community colleges. Yeah. All kids are not meant for trade schools. But one thing that I notice is that when I listen to radio, especially, the syndicated radio and the satellite radio, it's always DJs running the show. Always DJs running the show. So my man, Francisco Bain, he brought a DJ to teach kids how to DJ. He also brought a guy to teach kids how to digitally create logos and print shirts and all of that. So I remember, I had the same 3 shirts, a burgundy one, a navy one, and a red one, and I was recycling them. Gotcha. When I went on my bachelor party, I took 2 of those and I recycled them. I would wash them, hang them to dry, iron them a little bit, fold it so that it would last. And I went to the man. I was like, "Hey, man, so what are you doing here? What are you trying to teach her how to do?" And he was like, "Well, create this logo and eventually press it." And I started the light bulb in my head was like ping, and I was like, "Oh, so you press shirts because we have a department at school that does that too." And he was trying to charge me a quarter per half inch, quarter inch, and like you said, it just gets expensive. So I got him a higher resolution logo. Hollered at my homegirl at work, and she walked me through how to press it. And then I was like, well, damn, I'm just going to press it all. So after that, I pressed about 30 T-shirts that same day. And I took the machine for ransom at work. Then my man comes to me at work, and he's like, hey, Doc, I gotta give it back. I'm just like, nah, can you stall for a minute? Because I was, in the meantime.
In the midst of.
Yeah, I was thinking about how to set aside some funds to be able to get my own stuff. Then my man comes to me, and he's like, hey, John Dollar, that's what they call me at work, John Dollar, do you need a machine and a cutter? And I was like, yeah, I do. He was like, well, I got one for you.
Oh, wow.
And you can just pay me when you get it. And that's how I got my stuff, as well as this equipment, except for the camera. I bought the camera.
Gotcha.
But the audio equipment for this, shout out to my man, Darren Tizano. He's the one that put me down with all this. When I hit him and I was like, hey, man, I'm ready to blow up. He was like, I'm glad you said that. Let's meet for lunch. And he brought me all this stuff.
Cool.
So, I'm just that of a blessing, man. I mean, it just works when you get everything aligned and you start to talk to people that are like-minded. They put you in positions to win. So that's where I am right now.
And that's how you do it. Because I know I've been looking at getting a cameo for a while. And I was just like, oh, no. I was like, I know people. And I know people that, have a machine. They do shirts and whatnot. But there was a video, I think it was Kev on Stage ended up posting it. And they also had one on Instagram where they were talking about, the one on Instagram, what caught me first, and talking about Rihanna and how Rihanna ended up creating Fenty. And so it's like she created a makeup line, but think about how many makeup lines there are.
Exactly.
And she could have easily been like, well, no, there's already so many people. Fenty is blown up.
Yeah, it is.
And it's like, it's room
it has.
everybody. So it's like, I'm not trying to steal nobody's customers.
No doubt.
It might be people that don't buy shirts, and just because they do business with me, they want to get shirts too.
And that's how it is for me.
And that's the thing. And the thing is, I love doing it. And it's like, once you realize, it's not that I don't want nobody else to do it, but I could do it for myself. So if I want to be real extra and put 5 damn colors on the shirt, I don't have to worry about them charging me for every single color. I can do it for myself.
Yeah.
So
in the next 296 days, what do you hope to accomplish for Omazing Occasions?
For Omazing Occasions, I want to solidify these drunken suckers that I have just put into place. Haven't put them up for purchase yet. I'll give you a sample.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to get, ideas. And I definitely want to, right now I'm in the process of getting my logo redone, watermarking, business cards, just because I had a particular logo for a while. And it was okay for what I was doing. But as I'm reinventing and adding things on, I'm like, hey, it don't hurt to freshen things up. So definitely just kind of solidify.
Hold on, because I think you're about to go into the last question. Before we do that, I want to leave you with this.
Gotcha.
From the greatest rapper alive, Nazir.
How did I not know that was coming? I actually saw a post that Diddy did with him earlier, and they were on a boat together.
You know that.
So did you?
So the quote is, of course, Virgo brother, always. So the quote is, turning nothing into something is God's work. And you get nothing without struggle and hard work.
Yes.
So that's from Nas, and I don't have time to think about where it comes from, but I know it's a Nas lyric.
Okay.
So what I like to do here on the podcast, before we let you go, the podcast was created from the aspect of being a creative and being in the moment of a project, and then when the project was wrapping, you get to start to thinking, what's next? So I wanted to pose that and that be the last question that I ask every feature on the podcast. What's next for you, and what's next for Omazing Occasions? And I know you were going on the way to it, so I had to stop you because I didn't want to have to ask the question again after you've answered it. So what's next for Omazing Occasions?
Just right now, just some rebranding, solidifying what I find myself often doing is every time I see something, I add something. I just want to have a more solid list of items, having those prices solidified, being very consistent and making sure I just solidify what is Amazing Occasions.
Okay.
For me professionally, for the Teacher Quality Retention Program that I used to be a faculty member for, and then I was a staff member for, now I'm the lead for that.
Okay.
So this summer, I'll be leading my first Summer Institute
Okay.
with my team, but I
Okay.
am the lead. So definitely planning and making sure that this year's is the best that we've had.
Okay.
And just taking the realm and on my grown woman,
Okay.
all that.
Houston, Texas, man. It's our time. Peace and blessings.
Yo, it feel like 95. Sachi on my body. Biggie, jigger, puffy. All that ballin' is a hobby. And I'm wildin' in my wallies. And them valleys, no Pilates. More wet, get you more wet. Nah, that's these Spumante. My crystal ball, I see crystal. I crystal y'all with that. I saw the sign like Ace of Spades. That Ace of Spades get cracked me like cheers to the money guy. The Willie niggas who buy them bottles. And then they spill these liquors. Yo, salute my dude. I see you, dawg. 5 bottles, 1 dick. Why I need 2 bras? I know I'm out of line, but love is shower time. You know it rose rain when your cloud is 9. Get off that high ass hussy. This a private party. Been on my dick too long. Your breath on private party. You gon' be nice or naughty. These walls on priceless Audi. This the upper crust. Fuck is up. Over and done. Overdose. Guess we did it again.